In a previous lesson, I talked about different types of variables and I showed you examples of 4 types of variables. These types were integers, floats, strings, and booleans. In this lesson, I will talk about a new type of variable called list. The objectives of this lesson are to learn about lists in Python, also learn how to create a list in Python, and learn how to access list elements. I should also mention that lists are one of the most flexible and most commonly used data types in Python. A list in Python has the same concept as a list in everyday life. For example, when you make a to-do list for yourself, you take a piece of paper and you add action items to your list. And of course, your piece of paper is the container which holds your action items. The order of the objects in your list matters. This means that a list is a sequence of objects and not a bag of objects. You may think of a list in Python as a sequence of boxes, such as shoeboxes, which are arranged side by side. And each box can hold any type of object. To create a list in Python, all you have to do is put the items that you want to create inside a pair of square brackets and assign it to a variable name and separate them by commas. Let me show you an example. Let's assume I have 4 boxes. The first box has the value of hello, which is a string. The next box has the value of 5.6, which is floating point number. The next box is value of 137, which is integer, and the last box has a value of true, which is a boolean. Again, notice that these boxes are holding different types of objects. Let me do this in IDLE. All I have to do is type the items and separate them by comma, put them inside a square bracket, and assign it to a variable name. Now if I print this variable name, it will show me my list. In Python, square brackets are used to access list elements. And there are 2 ways to access list elements, either by positive indexing or by negative indexing. In positive indexing, each element has an index which increases from left to right, and the first element on the left has the index of 0, the next element has the index of 1, and so on. As you can see, I have put indexes on these boxes, so now the hello is associated with index 0, 5.6 is associated with index 1, 137 has the index of 2, and true has the index of 3. So let's access these elements in IDLE. If I want to access element 0, all I have to do is type the name of my list and use square brackets and put the index in that square bracket. For example, when I say my list, square brackets and 0, then it shows me hello. If I say my list, index 1, of course it will show me 5.6. If I say my list, the index of 2, it will show me 137. And of course, if I say my list with the index of 3, it will show me the value of true. Notice that even though my list has 4 elements, but the indexes go from 0 to 3. So if I ever use index 4, I will get an error because index 4 does not exist. And Python gives me the index error and also tells me that the index is out of range. Now in negative indexing, indexes go from right to left, and the last element on the right has the index of -1, and the element before last has the index of -2, and so on. So let me show you the example again using the boxes that I have. So I'm going to put the negative indexes on the top.
Now, as you can see, the last element on the right can be referred to by two different indexes, -1 and 3. And of course, the next element is also -2 and +2. And also, like the first element on the left, can be either referred to by index 0 or by index of -4. If I want to use negative indexes and refer to these elements, then I use a square bracket. So in Python IDLE, if I type my list index of -1, it shows me the last element on the right. And if I type -2, it shows me 137, and so on. Again, the index -5 does not exist, and if I ever use it, I get index error. So what did you learn? You learned that a list is a sequence that holds a number of objects. The items are ordered and each item has an index. You also learned that to create a list, you use a pair of square brackets, separate the items by commas, and then assign it to a variable name or an identifier. And you learned that you can access elements by using a pair of square brackets, either positive indexes or negative indexes. There are many more operations which can be performed on lists, and I will talk about those operations in future lessons.